At Say Hi to the Future, we believe exploring, instilling, inspiring, and nurturing human ingenuity is a leadership imperative. It must be sought and can be honed in every leader. I'm your host, Saquib Vali, Explorers Say Hi to the Future, the fast-growing community highlighting the human side of ingenuity. Our guest today is Lisa Poppovich Smith, Chief Operating Officer, Citywide Columbus, a facilities management solutions company offering over 20 building maintenance services. In addition, Lisa is a member of Chief, a network built to drive more women into positions of power and keep them there. Lisa is also a former Division I college athlete. Oh my God, there's so much to unpack there. Welcome, Lisa.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you for taking the time out from your well-maintained schedule. Lisa, let's let our listeners hear in your voice how you would wish to introduce yourself to them. And as you do, please do demystify things our listeners might get wrong about the facilities maintenance industry.
My name is Lisa Poppovich Smith. I have been with Citywide for 12 and a half years. I come from a marketing and merchandising background. So one might say, and I am always asked, how did you end up in facilities? I think that it was a relationship that led me here and had me interview with our current CEO. And he said, every day will be something different. And that was something that I was not used to. And that is absolutely, that is the case today. Every day is something different. There is never a dull moment. And ultimately, we help our clients with their workload by being one point of contact in being able to advise on anything their facility could need in a way that helps them and does not just sell them a service. We can consult. We are often advocates for our clients against possibly our competitors in challenging the status quo, if you will, on what should happen for a facility. Everybody's different, and every building has its own blood and heartbeat. And no building can be looked at the same.
And that is so true, Lisa. And you know what? We'll hang on to that heartbeat conversation because we'll get to it in a second.
Okay.
Lisa, there's a lot of buzz around the future of work, right? With terms like work from home, remote work, return to office, the list goes on. For someone whose business model depends on how this will unfold, help us understand how you and your company are navigating, and your industry might be navigating this macro trend.
Saquib, I believe that every human is going to have a passion and a why on what drives them forward. For some, they may want to be in a comfortable environment and able to do their job or anything that they are responsible for in a way that can be done from home. When you are in an industry such as facilities or sales that could be client facing, that calls for a different human. And what I've really tried to instill in my leadership team is to find the right people that desire to not be at home. It's not wrong or right in whatever each person desires to do for their livelihood. You know, if we don't get to wake up and call on our human being, which is garden and take care of family, and we are in a situation where we have to put food on the table in a different way, we're not our own boss, then we need to find the people that really love engaging people and helping them solve problems and save time. For me, during the pandemic, I went stir crazy. If I looked at my living room, my home office one more time, I may have went a little bit bananas here. So every person ticks different. And while work from home is a blessing, and we can do that sometimes, we are flexible with our employees. That should not be what makes our employees tick, and it shouldn't be behind their why, or they will oftentimes not be successful in what we do.
I understand, and I think the perspective you've given is the entire perspective is around how you are navigating your respective business, right? Let's try and expand this to the overall maintenance industry? Because your business model, as I understand it, depends on maintaining facilities that are for your clients. And if your clients are going through reduced footprints or spaces because now people are opting to work from home or do remote work, how does that impact, that macro trend impact your business model in terms of how you need to service your clients?
That's an interesting question. In the pandemic, we have 98 locations in the US and Canada. And in the pandemic, I believe each location general manager or franchisee, they had an option for Outlook. And some said, oh my gosh, my clients are shutting down, so I'm shutting down. For others, such as myself, my team took a different approach and we did an extra push on social media and marketing to allow people that did have to still go in. They were essential. Manufacturing, distribution, logistics, medical, they did not shut down. Daycares, they did not shut down. So when our competitors or our peers may have taken the same back seat, we went full forward and we actually grew because we took a different outlook. Glass half full, glass half empty. We went half full. We are still here and we can help those that are still forced into going into work each day. That impacted us dramatically.
That is such a cool leadership take, right? I mean, and kudos to you and your team and the people that are around you. Does that mean that the ones who are your clients, the ones who are choosing to function because they're either essential services, or now that a lot of people the pendulum is swinging back into people coming back into the offices, has that therefore helped you with greater engagement with your clients on maintenance services? Because in the past it might have been a transaction, but now it is so much more important that the people who are bringing people in take care of their not just their physical space, but overall the area much better.
Absolutely. With Citywide, because we are an expert in so many different services, we are not strong held to this is our pricing sheet and this is what we're going to charge you. We are able to get creative and say, hey, budget's a budget. We don't want you to have to eliminate that employee because maybe your lobby needs painted. We don't want you to have to eliminate employees because your electrical needs rerouted or reworked. Let's do a section at a time. Let's be flexible here. And I think that sort of consultative approach has really allowed our local clients to gain trust and to understand they're not just a number, and we truly value and care about their situation, which again, everyone is in a different situation.
I understand. That is a great take. So Lisa, let's double click on the role of spaces because you went into heartbeat a bit, and I want to get there a bit as well. So let's double click on the role of spaces as a proxy to productivity, right? When a building is well maintained and your services are properly done, the employees of your clients can be more productive. Is how I would take that as a thought. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
So in that context, what challenges does the facilities management industry face? And I'm not just speaking in terms of just a physical space. I'm talking more broadly in the role of spaces as the heartbeat for the industry.
I believe that our clients have changed. Our point of contacts have changed since I entered the industry in 2011. Someone may be in IT, but have the role of facilities. Someone may be the facility manager. Someone might be the property manager. Someone could be the office manager. And when you hear those different roles, understandably so, they have other responsibilities within their organizations. They do not have the time to get onto Google as we used to do, get into the phone book and entertain 5 to 7 quotes or vendors and all of their pitches, where we can entertain those for them and present the best options. And oftentimes we are very transparent in showing them the best options. I'm speaking vague because we do so much for our clients. We can help them with a remodel and we can clean their building. So it really depends on what we're talking about. But what I hear every day, and I'm so thankful for my team, is that they're saving my clients time in facilities. What is pressing and what is cosmetic? What do we need to do to make sure that our office, our facility can function so that our employees can do their job? And then what is a luxury? And that is where Citywide has really helped kind of navigate through. That can be overwhelming. Facilities are extremely overwhelming. And depending on the title, responsible, and their day to day, it can be overwhelming tenfold. So we're able to say, hey, this is what we're doing at X amount of buildings over here, similar to you. This is what's important. This is what you want to make sure you have done. Let's look at a plan to get that done. And then down the road, let's form a plan that works for you and your organization to get the luxury facility services done in a way that also enhances the life of your person in the office, so they are not distracted by that crack in their wall or that dirty window, because that can be a distraction. I think people, depending on where they are in their week or their life, your energy is going to pull to what is distracting you or what's not distracting you.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's go in a bit of a direction of now that with return to work is taking on a different role, right? Return to office, return to work, however which way we want to call it. Are your clients reimagining the space versus what they used to, and how is that impacting your offerings and how you're thinking about providing those services to your clients?
Yes. One of our clients, for example, had 4 stories of a downtown high rise. And what we were able to show them, because two of the floors were vacant, they were able to do their job successfully from home, while 2 of their floors had to be in office, client facing roles, leadership, meetings, strategy. Sometimes that is just better in person. Whatever the case may be, we were able to show them how they could reuse that floor space, and guide them into a why don't you sublease. That we have nothing to do with that, but seeing so many different facilities and the way that they're used, we're able to consult in a way. We may not profit off of our consulting, but what we do is show them that they can trust us and that we have answers that you may not have realized. So they are redesigning their space. In that case, they sublet. We have another client that had us redesign their first floor for visitors that come into town, and more of a shared work environment like you will see at a lot of locally. Cohatch is a huge shared workspace, where people don't need an entire building. They can rent one office. So examples like that, understanding all of the different industries that we support, we're able to guide them in a way that they may not have been exposed to under their umbrella. And whether they use our idea or not, they are often super thankful for the input on, and it's free.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know what? This is a great continuation of the conversation in terms of as your clients are thinking of redesigning their spaces and rethinking about how work happens. I'm sure there's a lot of innovation you have to think about in how you are providing your services. Give me your leadership take on Ingenuity, especially the human side of Ingenuity. How do you and your team think about how should you be retailering, rejigging, making innovations in your services that you're providing? How do you gain those insights? How do you think about them? Give me an example of when it has worked well. Tell me an example of when it didn't work well, and what do you learn from that?
Flexibility.
Hmm.
In facilities, I believe oftentimes vendors who are absolutely vital are not flexible, and they do not open their mind to listening. For me, Ingenuity has been something that I think most people would describe me in our system as someone at the forefront. If something's not working or it is challenging, possibly a nuisance, I'm going to figure out a way to make that more comfortable and accessible for all involved. Um, I've done it in several different ways. So with our clients, it's extremely natural for myself to preach on be flexible to my leadership team, and then that cascades to the managers that are oftentimes taking care of our buildings or selling or consulting on a service. You must be flexible. So ingenuity cannot start without flexibility. And once you listen to someone, if you're open to it, you can really add value by thinking of another creative way for them to accomplish the goal at hand.
Okay. No, that's a great one. So flexibility and listening is what I'm taking away. Um, Lisa, you've had an exciting career, and I wanna move this conversation from your industry and your business to a bit more on getting to know Lisa better. And so there are three different sort of places I would love to go with you. One of them is on go back to the time when you were at OSU, knowing what you do today, and if you had the chance to retrace your steps. Like you said, there was this one relationship where the CEO actually asked you to interview. But if you were just to knowing what you know today, and if you were to retrace your steps and walk this path again, would you do anything differently?
I would. I think that I would because of wisdom. I wish that I had the mentors that I strive to be daily to my younger generation. When I entered the workforce, prior even to citywide, I wish I had someone that said, you have to set your life up this way. And you need to, and you do have the income to put $100 aside, 500, and to set up your life for your end goals, because if your life is set up for your end goals, then you're more comfortable executing the mission at hand. I wish that I would have been disciplined enough to seek out advice on end goals. Now I'm all set. But I am preaching that every day to my younger leaders, younger managers. Let's get our life situated, because we cannot execute our job, our career in a comfortable manner with full focus if we are stressed on the back end. I know that's vague again, but I wish I would have had a better mentor or sought one out. I think that it's important to be focused if you want your career to rise, and you have to take outside distractions away from that puzzle. I would have wished for the wisdom that I have today earlier on, or knew to seek that out.
You and I both, Lisa. I wish we had the wisdom which we would have been, able to leverage. But I think you haven't been vague at all. I think these are some great insights. Let's go a bit more on to the area of you being on chief, which is you're a member of chief, where it is about empowering women and making them get into positions of power and helping them stay there. Tell me a bit more about the role that you play there, and what are some of the learnings you've had from there?
Chief has been an outside presence that has exposed me beyond my system. I have amazing peers within the citywide system, but I knew that I needed to find an outside source to bring different perspectives into my life, or ultimately so that I could help my leaders in a different way. If we are only exposed to leadership in our circles, then we are not thinking, we're not becoming creative, we're not adding ingenuity to what we do. So Chief has been a great support in that way for me. It's different perspectives from all different positions. I am a part of a core group, and most of us have a different role within our organization as a leader. And that has been monumental. It's inspiring every single time I get to share some time with those ladies. But also, I think it further solidified that I'm doing the right thing, that I'm not wrong. I have never let being a woman stop me from anything that I've ever done. It's never crossed my mind. I'm from a small town. Everybody's the same. We didn't have a lot of influence that would cause separation, divide, anything like that. So, small football town, we're big advocates for camaraderie, teamwork. So when I moved to Columbus, Ohio, and those influences started to flood my brain, I was very confused. I was also almost taken back by some of the divide and the conversations on divide. So I feel like being from a small town and then coming to Columbus, Chief has brought it back full circle. No, you're right. Those influences, they aren't there. They're talked about, but why are they talked about? And then I started to analyze the people talking about them, and Chief has further instilled in me that no, you're right. We are all the same. We are all humans. We all have a purpose, and anyone can do the job well if they put the right focus toward it.
That is such good advice, and frankly great insights into coming in. And let me just on the third aspect also get to know a bit more about you being a Division 1 college athlete. How has that influenced Lisa as a person, as a leader, and a team player?
I think it's interesting. Sports as a whole teaches teamwork and discipline. And when you are in Division 1 or 2 or 3, sometimes college athletics, you are required. It's not an option that you are at practice, that you are at training, that you are at fitness, weightlifting, that you are at the games, that you travel. You balance your schooling, education, and sometimes you may even have a part-time job. For me, I coached the youth all through college, in what my sport was. And so it's balancing and the art of being organized and keeping your mental positive. So for me, if I'm in a fast-paced industry where you never know what's coming at you every single day, athletes tend to thrive because it's not foreign to them. You have a schedule, you're disciplined, you get back, you respond to people, you're respectful to your coach or your client, right? So I think that the discipline to maintain the schedule that I had to for 4 years has really helped me not only drive myself, but also my team today.
That is great insight. And so, Lisa, just out of curiosity, which sport did you compete in?
Now, before you giggle, I was a cheerleader, but with that comes a ton. So most college athletes have to be at their event. I had to be at 4 to 6
Yeah,
different
that's
events,
right.
and it was very, very athletic. It's not sideline like you see at a middle school or high school game. There are 3 types of cheerleading, and it was very, very athletic with a lot of endurance and patience and drive required.
And I would not giggle at that. I'm a father of 2 daughters, and trust me, they're into all of this, and
Oh, yes.
I can understand. It is physically challenging. It is mentally challenging. There is a lot of teamwork involved. So, kudos for you to have been part of the athletic team, Lisa. So now that you've been in this role for some time, what would your advice be to other leaders out there? What have what are some of the wisdoms that you would impart to others?
I believe there are a few types of leaders, but if you want to be a leader that truly drives your company forward, you have to be extremely present and you have to be engaged not only on the business but on the personal level with at least your direct reports. You have to have empathy, but you have to be stern, and you have to demand respect but also give it in a way that people feel that they can add value back. You do not have all the answers. You must listen to what your employees, your team is saying, and then find a solve, if you do not take their advice, that works for all parties to keep everyone engaged and everyone motivated. I see leaders all the time that say, well, Lisa, help me out. I achieved this level. I feel like my work's increased. Yes, your work will increase until you have created the team around you that you absolutely and desperately need. But I don't believe that the leader should feel like rising in the ranks will eliminate workload. Sometimes we have to be psychiatrists, and sometimes we have to be just appear to listen. And I think that that oftentimes the mentees that I support are challenged with the fact that they still have to put in a little effort, and maybe sometimes it's more effort than they believed would occur when they were promoted or found themselves in that role.
Lisa, thank you for being the leader you are. Thank you for being there for others as part of Member Chief. Thank you for thinking about your industry in such an insightful way and leading from the front. And so thank you again for taking the time and sharing your insights. Our listeners would love to hear more from you. We will tag you and Citywide Facility Solutions in our show notes. But before I let you go, Lisa, was there anything on your mind that you would have wished to share with our listeners that just in my structure of how I was asking these questions and stuff that you didn't get to speak about?
There's one large item that I'd like to say, and I actually
Please.
heard it at the Say Hi to Columbus event in Columbus, Ohio. I have shared it multiple times since then. And that is, as a leader, you have to realize there is no box, and man made the box. And if you live in the box, you will continue to be average and a little bit mediocre. And I challenge everyone to look through a different lens, and oftentimes 3 to 4 different ways on whatever they are facing, because ultimately, without that box that they have in their head, they will come up with the best ideas that they've ever arrived to. And I think that oftentimes people look at this is how it's supposed to be, and not, but how can it be? How can it be? And so I thank you for that event, but that has lived with a few of us since that day.
That is insightful, and you're absolutely right. Our belief is, how people at times say you should think outside the box, and our belief is there are no boxes.
Right.
Why create a box in the first place? Thank you so much, Lisa. I hope you had a great time as well, and our listeners are going to be really enthused in listening to everything that you had to say. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Saquib. Have a great day.
The Say Hi to the Future podcast series is produced by Sonia Romero, edited by Matt Miller, and special effects by Edward Vasquez. Please leave us your thoughts and let us know if there is a leader you want us to have a conversation with next.